Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and I'm happy that the majority of the people could arrive, even with major traffic jams. Second worst day of the year, so yeah, that's the status. Well, we've got a busy evening. I'm going to show the agenda. The welcome, well, we've had that. I hope everyone was happy with the sandwiches and the drinks and our bartender, Kristof. Okay, well, we've got also some certification news. For those who are maybe informed, there are things going on certification. I'll introduce yours after the agenda. Then we have our keynote. Then we'll organize a discussion panel, which is a richer version of a QA session for those who haven't yet attended to our events. And then we have a networking drink. Now, the times on the networking drink, it can be later, it can be earlier, depending how the discussion panel goes. Okay. But first, I would like to thank our sponsors, the people who are hosting here, Ordina, Kristof. Also, thank your manager and everyone else who have made this possible. We're always depending on sponsors for location, for catering. And also Quaso, who is already for many years our yearly sponsor. And of course, our speaker, Kristof. Okay, well, certification news. You know that the IIBA has a history of certification. The first certification they had was the CBAP, which was created around 2006, which has been the first and today still the worldwide recognized standard on business analysis certification. That's around 2006. In 2010, they noticed that, well, sometimes the CBAP is a bit heavy. So we need a bit more entrance level. Now that entrance level, that was called the ECBA, which is a certification of competency in business analysis. It was still pretty heavy because the exams were very similar and your application, you had to demonstrate quite a lot of experience still. But now, 2016, a lot of companies and organizations and individuals and business analysts, they said like, well, those two certifications, is there nothing else? So IIBA has created two more. Well, they have created the Entry certificate in BA. And Joris is going to explain what it's all about. And also later this year, it's already announced, but the specifications are not finished yet, will be the CBATL, which is the Certified Business Analysis Thought Leader, which is a bit more experienced than the CBAP, which was always the standard for many years. So, well, I'm giving the word to Joris to tell us a bit more on the ECBA, the entrance certificate. Thank you.
This is the one?
Okay. What do I move for? Okay. Well, Stefan did without knowing half of my presentation, so that's good. It's easy for me. So indeed, it started with the CBAP, which is currently still the highest, as Stefan mentioned. And the difficult thing in there is that you have to prove 5 years of experience over the last 10 years of your career. And that was quite heavy. So a couple of years later, CCBA, where they said it's 3 years in the last 7 years of your career. So 3 years experience still quite heavy, so you have to document that and fill in your application. Now they're coming up with two other certifications. So one is, let's say, even a higher level, so the CBATL, and then the new one, the ECBA, is an entry level. It's something that is being asked for many years, because for the two others you need to prove experience, which is not that easy. You have to prove that in detail what you have done with hours and days, and you have to give references that they call up to see that, let's say, this experience is right. So they now have, let's say, this entry level. What do you have to do? So you enroll for the program. The only thing that you need to have, just a minute, so, yeah. Yep, so it is for, let's say, for everybody. I'm already talking on the, let's say, on the next slide. So it's for new graduates, it's for people that don't have experience or not experienced enough, but want to prove that they have the knowledge about what business analysis is and what is in the BABOK. So, as I said, no experience needed. The only thing that you have to know is, let's say, what is in the BABOK, and they will test you on it. 50 questions, 1 hour, multiple choice, and you need to prove that you have 20 hours of study done, recognized by IIBA. So an endorsed education provider, you go and attend the training for 3 days. Typically one hour is one point, one PDU point. So you have to prove 1 hour, 21 PDU points. And of course you have to accept the code of conduct. Once it is approved, you have 1 year to take the exam and to retake it 2 times. So you can do your exam 3 times in 1 year once it is approved. Each time, of course, you will have to pay for it. And it's completely based, as I said, on what is in the BABOK. This is how the exam looks. So you take the BABOK, you take all the sections in it, the domains, the areas. So that is, let's say, the division of questions, the weight that they will put in the exam, in the 50 questions. That is what the price is. So if you take the first exam as a member, it's $60, as a non-member also $60. And no, that is for the application. And then if you have to take the exam and retake it, it's $85 or $195 as a non-member. So if you are not a member, you better to become a member because the discount is more than what the cost is or the difference is in the certification. And that is, let's say, what I wanted to talk about. That is very briefly what it is. So it's really an entry level, so everybody can take it. Somebody's interested or is working for a couple of years as a business analyst and they want to have a certificate recognized by IIBA. ECBA is the one that can help you getting started, and then of course you can continue to evolve to the CCBA or CBAP later. And I'm going to hand over to our president Stefan again for the rest of the day.
No, for
Not
the
the
rest.
rest of the day.
That is for Kristof. Also, maybe interesting to know. I'll go one forward, I think. Yes. Interesting to know. The IBA also had a business analyst competency model, and after the BABOK was the version 3 came out last year in April. The first thing they wanted to align to the BABOK version 3 was the certification and create new levels of certification. So that's now ongoing. The only one that is still remaining is the CBA thought leader. That's still something that needs to be fine-tuned. That will be only assist-based, not with an exam. How that happens, I'm pretty curious myself. Another thing that will then evolve is the competency model that will come out by the end of the year, the first draft, and the beginning of next year. So if people working in HR departments or whatever, that is also something you need to follow. Okay, about the keynote. First of all, our keynote speaker is Kristof Detaellenaere. He's a business consultant with a passion for people. I like that. And after many years of working on ERP and process organization projects, he has spent a lot of time on change management, also an interesting traffic way of going. He now builds upon his experience to work on the human side of international projects, stopping out of the classic analysis approach and into engaging people. Together with a strong customer focus, using customer journeys, surveys, lean startup techniques, he creates valuable solutions for his clients. The keynote. Well, today many of us write requirements. We analyze what the business wants. But we should go a step further. We should think what the business needs and what the customer needs. So based on a real project example, Kristof will show us how to use your skills to better serve the client, how the BA can be a facilitator in driving added value and bringing teams together. Bottom line, how the business analyst becomes a crucial player in the realization of a successful project. Kristof.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, thanks for the introduction. Thanks. So thank you for the introduction. Today I would like to present my approach, and it's an approach that I constantly adapt, and especially this approach that I will present now, I've been developing together with Philip Hendricks, the cameraman, and he asked me to present this because we had like very good results. And it's not the classic type of analysis that I will show you, it's something else. I would like to get you out of your comfort zone and challenge you a little bit. Because these days, as analysts, we analyze business needs, or maybe better, we should analyze consumer needs. And these needs, they're constantly changing, and it's going like rocket speed. So we have to do something. I think as BAs, we need to adapt our approach and our thinking to this new environment. So, and I hope to inspire you with my presentation to do a bit the same thing, to go a bit further, to try different things. So today it's not about requirements, it's about something else. Just for information, it's not something spacey rocket science thing, it's very straightforward, so don't worry. Just a short introduction about myself. So I'm Kristof, of course, and I'm a consultant like I think everybody here, but I'm an implementer. I implement ERP projects. I did some PeopleSoft in the past, some SAP V1 projects recently. I would like to evolve into more Salesforce stuff, CRM stuff. So I implement these kind of things. I also implement processes like process design, process optimization, process implementation. The last one is pretty tough sometimes. So I'm an implementer. It sounds like a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but it's not. It's really an important word, because implementing for me, it's about people, really working with people. So when I work on a project, I want the people to start using the solution in the correct way. That's one thing. When I leave the project, I want them to keep on using the subject, implement the solution in the same way. So I really want these things to be implemented. They have to stuck. And afterwards, when I leave, I want the people that work together with me to keep on evolving, to try to improve their system. So I'm also very passionate about implementing the change minds. So that's me. Like, I'm a consultant with a passion for people and a passion for change. But enough about me. So let's talk about the presentation. I would like to start with a short story. It's not long, and it's about I like sports. I'm into a lot of sports. And a few weeks ago, I was running with my training buddy, and this guy is like a hot shot in a big consulting firm. So it's really top of mind. And normally we don't discuss work, but this time we did. Like, this guy, he just came from a very interesting presentation about some company talking about wowing your customer. And I like the subject, it's very interesting. First of all, I was surprised that this guy from this big company was impressed by the presentation of wowing your customer. I think it should be in the DNA, but okay, it's something else. But it's really interesting to think about wowing your customer. And then I felt like, do I try to wow my customer? So what is wowing your customer? And for me, it's more than just doing the best you can. It's more about attitude. It's about your values. It's about caring about the customer, or the customer of your customer. It's like connect with consumers, and it's delivering more than expected. And maybe also leaving a legacy when you leave, that people still think of you. For me, that's wowing your customer. So maybe I dare to say that I wow my customer. It's a little wow. For example, I started a project as a trainer, and in the end I was improving the system that I was training for. So it's not a big wow, but it's a small wow. But I really tried to lift the project. So maybe my question for you, who can say that he already wowed his customer? No? Or like a little wow? No? No? Okay. And then the next question is, how can a BA wow his customer? That's an important question for me. So in order to find out, let's start with a definition of business analysis. I think you know this definition. It's from a famous institute. So, and I really like the definition. It's about enabling change, and it's about delivering added value. So I really like this definition. I don't really agree with the word stakeholders. I think we have to go a bit further. This is who's the stakeholder? These days, we have to aim for the consumer, the end user. Because we cannot, as everything is moving so fast, we cannot assume that the stakeholder knows his market. It used to be like this. In the past, companies would say like, I know my customer, I know the consumer, we go in that direction, and it worked. Today, only Apple can use this kind of strategy. They build something and people will adapt. But these days, like, everything is consumer driven. And that's why we have to be very critical. So that's the only thing I would change to the definition. But for the rest, enabling change and adding value, it's so important. And then, let's go back to reality. So what does a BA do on a project? I found some roles. So IT business analyst, so you analyze requirements, you collect them, and you deliver IT solutions. Right? Business process analyst, you optimize processes, you try to implement them. Requirement engineer, it's a bit like the IT business analyst. Business system analyst, for me, that's more like a FA role, I think. So that so many different roles. Maybe what other roles can there be? So it's very wide. That's one thing. But then the question is, you can do a very good job. Like I'm sure we all do very good jobs. I'm now playing the devil's advocate. But can you enable change? That's a big question. Can you add value? Yeah, you can add value, but can you enable change? Can you connect to the customer, to the consumer? I'm not sure. And then another question I would like to ask: when do you get involved in a project? So maybe let's vote. Who's involved on the execution? So business case is ready, budget is approved. Who's getting involved? Everybody, right? I hope. No. So, who's involved in writing a business case? Who is involved in the ID generation? Okay, that's good. That's really, so I think you can already go for a beer. So. But many BAs be involved in the execution phase. I think that's just a fact. It's not your fault. It's like text. So people start like a company starts a project and then say, "Wow, we need a BA for the requirements." And that's when we get involved. That's the reality. But for me, well, I can only speak for myself, but for me, that's already too late to really connect to the consumer, to deliver value, to enable change. And it's really a pity because when we take a look at your skills, we have so many skills. It's amazing. I just took a few of them. You have communication skills. It's true, you can talk to business, you can talk to C-level, you can talk to middle management, you can talk to end users, you can talk to IT. So you're a good communicator. Critical thinking. I think on average you ask more questions than my 6-year-old kid. More times why, whatever. So I think critical thinking, it's also a check. Problem solving, that's your DNA. You have a problem from business and you provide a solution, and most of the time it's an IT solution. So you're a problem solver. Documentation, the same thing. think we write amazing books, and we are very good illustrators. We like Snagit, and we like all this kind of other stuff to get screenshots. So we write nice documentations. Domain expertise, that's something you build up over the years. After a few years, I think you're there, you have like a good domain expertise. And if you're not, you're able to start a project and walk a very steep learning curve. So you're very good in learning as well. Soft skills and facilitation, of course you have these skills. You're able to bring together business and IT in the same room and they don't fight. So you're a very good facilitator. And the same thing for modeling. Like I think we should get shares of post-its. I think we have so many post-its in our pocket, so we're very good in modeling. So it's amazing how many skills we have. And I think you all have to agree to this. It's just a fact. So it's a pity. Like we get involved very late, but we have all these skills, and I'm very convinced that with all these skills we can do much more than what we have to do right now on a project. And I would like to illustrate this via a case of mine, and it's a really interesting case. And I think on this case we really went for delivering value and enabling change. So on this project, it's in the insurance environment. And the business case was ready. There was a budget foreseen. It was a lot of budget, really a lot. So we could do a lot of stuff. We could build nice things. And the goal was to generate revenue by creating a website for enabling switches online in the insurance world. Very interesting for me, like a pretty challenging project. And the estimated revenue was more than 200K per year. Let me ask you, who would switch online their insurances, like travel insurance? Would you switch online? 1, 2, 3. Would you switch your car insurance online? Do you go to a broker? 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, life insurance. So I didn't feel good about it. They want to make so much revenue by building a tool to switch. And if you just ask around, almost nobody would switch online. So, and then what can you do? Like you're hired as an external consultant. You have different options. Or when you do, like you say, like, oh, fine, nice project, let's start. You start building requirements and you go to the project and so on and so on. It's working. Okay. But I decided to do something else because this project, it's always fun to start a project. At a certain moment, you just hit the wall, and then what did you deliver? Nothing. Like you can stop the project, a lot of budget is wasted. It's not something you can mention on your LinkedIn. It's like, it's useless. So, So I didn't feel very comfortable on this project, and it's not easy. On one side you have the project manager, and you have the sponsor, and they're really excited to get it started, get their budget, and let's go. And then there's this critical analyst that says like, oof, I'm not sure about this. So it's not easy. But honestly, I'm a feeling person, or what do you call it? So if I don't feel right, if it doesn't feel right, I cannot proceed. I already have like a refused project because of this. But I decided to give it a try because it was kind of challenging. And so I needed to know how this project could add value. It's like I needed to know how the solution could deliver the benefit, the revenue, and how this goal was linked to the company's strategic goals, value, mission, whatever. So, and that was not clear in this big business case with all these papers full of blah 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 blah. And then I still had all these questions. So, and like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy. These people are so excited, and you start asking these stupid questions in their eyes. It's all in the business case. But it was not. It was not in the business case. So I needed to find a way to make this discussable. What I did, and this is where it's getting interesting for me and I hope for you as well, it's like I asked them to just explain me, as the PM and the sponsor, just explain me the business case, and I tried to make it visual. I prefer like visuals, and it talks easier. So what I used is a benefit map. Many people don't get a benefit map, but it's a very simple tool, and it has three big parts. First of all, you have the goals. You have to the features, basically the solutions, and then in the middle you have the enablers. The goals, it's for me the benefit map is something for a project level. So I discussed this with the PM and with the sponsor and some interesting stakeholders. So the goals are the goal of the project, of course, what you want to realize, and then it has to be in line with the strategic objectives. And in my case, one of the strategic objectives was revenue. So okay, the goal was revenue, so it's a bit silly, but it was the case. And then the solution is really what you're going to build. So in my case, the website, or switching. And the enabler, and that's the fun part of it, the enabler is like a more generic solution to your problem, to your goal. This is not IT related necessarily, and it's very wide. It can be very wide, and it's perfect for brainstorming. You can go crazy here. For example, I have a story about I don't know if it's true, but for example, I think Colgate or some other product, and the marketing team was thinking about how can we sell more, and all these top marketing guys from the company, they were coming together, and they had all these theories marketing wise, and there was just someone else. And in the story, it's like a cleaning lady, I'm not sure if it's true. And she said, like, why don't you make the opening of the toothpaste wider? And people would use more toothpaste, and you will sell more. And apparently that's what they did in the end. Same thing for like this company, and they wanted to make the taxi business more, get more revenue out of taxi business. So they probably got like many ideas about apps for taxi drivers and whatever, and then the taxi driver get to convince the taxi driver, and then this taxi driver can just use the app and pick you up. And someone must have said like, why don't you make something where everybody can be a taxi driver? And then you have Uber. For me, Uber is amazing, and that's like what you can do with enablers. You can go a bit crazy, but it's on paper. I like this one. So let's take a quick look at the benefit map for the project of insurances. So this is very simple. You can leave the enablers out, but you have like goal, revenue, solution, creative sites for switching. And it wasn't like all these papers of business case into like 2 boxes. And it's very confronting, I must say. Like I asked more goals and more solutions, but in the end, the PM and the process owner and the sponsor could only talk about revenue and it's just and websites. So it's a bit confronting. So be prepared to that. But like I said, you have all the facilitation skills, soft skills, so you can manage this. And then the thing that is not on here is like with all the solutions, what is the problem? There's no problem on here. So it's good for brainstorming, and I use it to visualize my business case, but there is no problem here. So I started asking about like what is the problem you want to solve, and the problem is more like consumer related, and that's like no answer. And another way to find the problem, and that's the one I used on the project, it's like an innovation canvas. This innovation canvas is like created by the cameraman and Philip Hendricks from Altershape, and it's based on the real canvas. The only difference is it's really more, you can integrate it easier into your organization. And for me, this is perfect. So it doesn't matter which canvas you use. It's really, you need to find a way to dive for the problem. And so you have different boxes here. I didn't use them all, but so you have the solution. So our solution was to decide what is the customer value. We had no idea. Which is the customer segment. No idea. What is the problem? No idea at all. So again, this is very confronting because like they had to say all the time, I have no idea. But then we started using this canvas to search for problems. The nice thing about this canvas is in every box you can use different techniques to find the answer in that box. And even more interesting is with this kind of canvas, it's again a one-pager. You can involve different departments. We involved the contact center, we involved marketing, we involved the legal department. The insurance world is legally very strict. And the fun thing was, they were so happy to help us out. They, for example, contact center said like, finally someone is asking us for advice. And it's an important word, like advice. If you want to include other departments, just ask for their advice. It's like a magical word, advice. So they are very happy to help you. And and that's what we did. So for the problem, we involved marketing, contact center, sales, and also business, of course. For customer segmentation, we involved marketing, different specialists, and then legal and marketing were involved. But for me, what was important was the problem. So we had a solution, but we didn't have a problem. So for me, I focused on the problem, and then all the rest will follow. If we have the problem, we can analyze which customer segment it is. We can find a solution, customer value. Also very interesting is what's in it for us, because you can have this very fancy solution that will have a lot of consumers, but for the company you work for, it's worth nothing or it costs money. So you're going to build it or not. So this is for me really an amazing stuff. Here, on the benefit map, you're on the project level. Here you go down to the consumer level, the end user level, and that's very interesting. And you can switch between both. So once you have the problem, you can find solutions. You can do it here, but we did it on the benefit map. So and in order to find the problems, you have different techniques. So what we did, first we did some desk research together with marketing. It's amazing how much information you find on the internet. Just like search for problems. What kind of problems do people have with insurances? So the internet is full of it. And then we started involving other departments. Like I said, they were really, really happy to help us. And they gave us so much information. And the contact center, they pick up the phone of people complaining about whatever. So they have so much feedback. So it was really a treasure of information. And marketing did the same. Like, with all of their experience, they gave us so much information for free. And it's like in one meeting. And then in order to go a bit deep, because departments, that's like internal, like it's not the consumer, we decided to make some surveys. And we have different ways of making surveys, and we used two of them. First of all, we did like an internal survey. So together with the contact center and marketing, we made a survey. And the contact center can give you the right questions because they know their problems. They can ask you they can give you the right questions. And marketing, they can give you information about the segmentation. So it's like a nice survey. Okay, it's not perfect. Huh? It's a survey. It's not professional. But it took us 2 hours to create a survey, and then the next day in the morning, I was handing out surveys at the entrance, and in the evening, we got like, out of 300 employees, we got like 150 results in July. So Really good, huh? So, and that was really nice to do. The only thing is, like, you have to get out of your comfort zone. I didn't like standing there down and handing out questionnaires. It's really very uncomfortable. How do you say it? A man's got to do what a man's got to do, something.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, it's a good question. It's a good question, but this is like within 2 weeks after I started. So you can do this very quickly. And normally, as you join a project, day 1, you're involved. Day 2, you have to talk to HR. Day 3, you get your PC in your place. So, and in the meantime, you can, like, the first days, you just have to talk to the different stakeholders. But in the meantime, like, you can do much more. And but you're right, it's not always possible. Like, this is a. No, that's right, but you have to do it in a gentle way. No, but I just asked them to explain me the business case. Just asking questions and then not offensive. Like, just, I don't understand the business case. Like, how do you go from a solution to a goal? How do you realize it? Like, and that's why I used this benefit map. And while you are making the benefit map, they could see for themselves, like, wow, there's something missing. And then the next question, like, here's the solution. And I think Belgians are very expertized in finding a solution and then searching for the problem. So we, like, they had a solution in their business case, and I really didn't know what the problem was. I had no idea. Yeah. Yes. And that's like the benefit map. I made it just with the PM and the sponsor, and then here I started involving different departments. And like the things, all these departments, in my case, so far they really like to be involved. There's many projects, you just stay on a project level. But here you really dive into the world of the consumer. But you're right, it's not easy. You have to handle it with care, and I completely agree. If you feel resistance, like, if you want to stay on the project, you better back off with it. So it's a good question. So we did this internal survey, and again, I discussed this with the marketing department, and so for the statistical department was involved. So it was not a secret. Like, people are aware, and because of working on this benefit map, got so much buy-in from contact center, also from the PM, just to do it. And we also did like an external survey, because there's like a kind of statistical department in this company, and they wanted to do it professionally. And they're right, we also did this external survey, but it took like 2 months before we got results. Like, we got answers from 40 people, but more in depth. Like, we got more explanation why a specific statement was made. So it was very interesting, and it was at 6,000 euros. So for us it was a bit useless, basically. But we needed their buy-in anyway, so if they wanted to pay for it, fine. So what you certainly have to do, like, get all the feedback from consumers now. The internal survey, it's a bit biased, because you ask questions to the people of the company you work for, but everybody is insurance, so they have the same questions as the regular consumers. And then you have to dare to reach conclusions, and that's really important, because you have all this data, and you have to analyze it, and then you can start hesitating, like, wow, this is like big data almost, I don't know, what do I do? But if you just go through the data, and you read all the results, and you try to combine them, you can get some results, and that's really important, because you need a kind of initial hypothesis, and to work on. So, and another interesting thing is the treatment barometer. It's from Google and it's for free. And Google, they do surveys on many different subjects in many different countries, and offline, online, and you get like they share results for free. And this helped us a lot. And if you're lucky, your subjects, in our case, insurance was part of it. So just try it out. It's for free. It's perfect. In any case, what happened in our project? The results were that the big result was that people they don't know about their insurances. Do you know your car insurance? Do you know what is covered, what is not? Maybe you know which company is, well, especially with business cars, you have no clue. But most people, they know the company that is their insurer, but they don't know the coverage. They know the price, but they have no clue if they pay too much. In our survey, 18% said like, maybe I pay too much, only 18. And more than 60% never try to switch insurances. So why should people come to our sites and switch? No idea. So that was very important. And the second goal was, and it's a bit strange, but it's very obvious. In insurances, people, they don't like to buy online. There's no trust. So they compare online, but they buy offline. So they make a comparison online, and then they take the data, go to their broker, and say, hey, this company gives me so much. So again, why should people come to our platform and switch online? No idea. So we were just thinking of making this website, and then we could generate 200K. With all the information you have now, you know it's not going to work. So on the benefit map, we got like 2 new goals. Before we could think about revenue, we have to work on market transparency and make people aware that switching online is cheaper and it's possible. And next, we have to build trust in online buying of insurances. So suddenly we had a totally different business case. And this is very confronting, I can tell you. But, so we had to kind of rebuild the business case from the start and focus on market transparency. So we went back to the benefit map and did some brainstorming. How can we create transparency? And also here we can again involve marketing and whatever. So it's a fun thing to do. But if you can get to this stage, you're already in the right direction. You see. So imagine a situation of the difference, like just building a site for revenue or focusing on transparency, on trust, and then building a site. So it's completely different. Yeah, we kind of had to rebuild the business case. And everybody's able to do this. This is not rocket science. When you go back to your skills, this is about like a lot of soft skills and facilitation skills, communication, critical thinking. All of your skills are applicable here, but it's nothing special. The only difficult thing was like handle with care, because it's a bit confronting to question the business case, do it in a gentle way. And then the next thing that is a bit uncomfortable is like to get outside with a questionnaire in hand and hand them out to everybody when people start asking questions and whatever. So, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Just see the difference. With this information, the chances of doing a good project are much higher. And then, but this is not easy. So if you have the time, and on our project we didn't have much time, we should try it out with the consumer, with the end consumer. I'm just going to show you what we did, but it takes time. So, and I didn't invent this myself. This is taken from Spotify. It's an interesting article on Spotify, how Spotify builds products, and they promote the creation of a prototype. And and you can do the same thing. We did like a very small prototype and tested out, but it should be cheap and quick, and it enables you to kind of test your solutions. So when you go back to this one, you have found some solutions here. But these are our solutions. So again, we assume that these solutions are pretty okay. So if you can, try them out. And it's cheap and quick, because you don't have much time. Now, if you go back to business and you said like, we would like to do another survey with consumers, then they kind of refuse. Like, I have a preference for a specific partner, whatever. Car manufacturers, they do it a lot. For example, they're thinking of new models, and they make pictures. These are not photos; these are pictures. They do it very well. But like the amount of feedback they get on their ideas, it's amazing. Like, I like the lights. I don't like the lights. It's like BMW. It's pretty cool. So thousands of people giving you free feedback on your idea, and that's what you should try to do also on your project. Try to test it out in a very cheap way. These photos are well done, so it takes some time and expertise, but it's cheap. It's cheaper than building the car and thousands of cars in order to get feedback. So in order to try it out, I kind of use 3 steps. So the first one is getting in touch with customers. And the way to do it is like, I can probably guess it's consumer journeys. It takes time to make these things. But what we did is like, we worked together with marketing, and we did it very light. They had some persona in mind, and then we just, in 2 hours, made 2 journeys. And it's not perfect, it's definitely not perfect, but we got like a good view for specific persona, how to get in touch with them, right? You make the journey, and then you define the touch points, and then you find the ways to interact. And it gives you a lot of insights, so I can only promote customer journeys. But you need the assistance of marketing. You need a good view on persona, so the types of person that buy your product. So, and then you find a way to test it out. Or you can, with all your knowledge, all your problems and all your solutions, you can go to the consumer and just ask for doing another questionnaire. Another way to do it is like to create some interactive mockups. And this is really interesting. With these interactive mockups, you can send out mails or make a little site, or like an interactive process, but visually, and you can monitor the behavior of your consumers. And the ones I use is like Acture. Acture is like create mockups, and you can there's a sequence, and you can see how people click on it, where they click. And normally you should involve UX also, that will take like much more time. So don't be scared, just use it. You get better and better in it. So Acture is really on the top. It's not expensive, but just make a little investment. And InVision is the same, or similar, but it's less powerful. But this one is for free. And the thing is, you should not make it during the day. This is homework, because it takes some time to create it. It's fun to do, but it takes some time. So I would suggest like do it in the evening, and then you can really wow your customer with this one. So next day you go back to your customer, hey, look what I made, and then it's really impressive. Just visit the site, and based on screenshots you can make like very nice flows. I really like it. You can also make some sites and mail them and follow on the behavior of customers. Wix is it's a tool for making sites, but it's for free. It takes like in a few hours to make this nice site. You can include a request for answering, and then you get like feedback in the mailbox. And MailChimp is like a mailing system. You can send out mailings to multiple people, and you can analyze the behavior of the people you mailed. It's really, it's an impressive tool. So these are my favorites. And then the next step again is like test it out with the consumer. So again, get out of your comfort zone and test it out. But like I said, this is like an addendum. Don't expect too much time from the customer to do this kind of stuff. If you can, just do it. Because you get so much feedback again. So you can really test the solutions you're thinking of before you even have written any line of requirements. And your skills, this is no rocket science here. So just play around with the tools. Start working on consumer journeys and just try it out. It's very easy to do. It takes time, but it's very interesting. You get so much insight. And then, when you've done all of this, you can really start your project. And it makes a big difference. You've come to a point where you really understand the problem of the consumer. You have a lot of solutions in mind, and maybe you have tested your solutions. So, and the funny thing is, this is where we normally start the project, this moment. So, all the things I've said, we normally miss. So we start on a project where you have like the business case, let's generate revenue by building a site for enabling switches. All the knowledge you have in the meantime. It's like, it's for me, it's really the way to go and to know your customer. You build up a relationship with departments. You really understand the consumer. You show you care about him, and you can deliver much more than expected. And hopefully, the customer takes over your way of doing projects by testing with consumers. So for me, this is really involving the customer. Just go back to Spotify. The next phase for Spotify is building. I just like it, so never mind. But yeah, this is the moment where you can just start a project and build the solution. First, for Spotify, it's like first you build an MVP, and maybe final product, and then you scale it. So, for me, this approach, it's a win-win-win situation. It's a win for your customer, because the business case got so much better. Depends. Or you have like this great business case with a lot of information about the consumer, about problems and solutions, where you have a lot of buy-in from different departments. So the success rate is much higher, and you will probably generate more revenue than if you shouldn't have done all of this. If you just would have created a website, then revenue would be close to zero. You would spend a lot of money. Now you can really think about it. So for your customer, it's a big win. For the end consumer, it's also a win. Normally, you would build a product that answers a real need because you thought about their needs. You made it with innovation canvas. You went down to the consumer's position. But also for you. So it's a lot of fun to do, except handing out the questionnaires. And you really try to create added value. And that's always a nice feeling. If you drive home and you think like, this time I did something good, like I made an impact, so it's a nice feeling. And you play a central role in the company. You know, in a short period, project related. So, you know all the departments, we got in touch with contact center, with marketing, in a very short period. So, just for you, like for your position on a project, it makes you much stronger. And so, if we go back to your position in a company, you can say you're more like a business advisor, because you really worked with your customer. You were thinking with your customer on how to generate value, how to kind of build up the business case. So it's a different game, and it's not rocket science. So that's the approach we try to apply. and I can tell from my experience that like it's really you get really good results. So I just would hope that I could kind of inspire you to build on your own approach and try to think out of the box and focus on consumer. So, and if you find new ways to make a good analysis or problem definitions, please share it with me and I can steal it from you. Okay. So thank you very much. I hope that I could trigger you a little bit to get out of your comfort zone, and let me know if that's something new to use. Thank you.
Well, now don't run away. I would like to organize a little QA more interactively, which means are there people that have a question around the presentation that Kristof has given, and then Kristof answers, but anyone else can react to it, so I'll pass on the microphone, make it more interactively. In the past we had a few chairs in front and a few elected people came up and sit in front, but I think everyone can contribute to that type of discussion. So, is there anyone who has a question or a remark or a comment on the presentation that Kristof has given? None. Okay. Okay, Robin. Yes.
Thanks for the presentation, Kristof. I have a question about the canvas you were using. So it was a homemade canvas, if I understood correctly, between you and your colleague. Yeah. How would you define the difference between the canvas you guys created and, for instance, the business model canvas? It's one of the lectures I missed it. But I started using the business model canvas for developing some business cases, etc. And I'm just wondering, how would you define the difference between the innovation canvas and the business model canvas, for instance?
To be very fair, I would like to give the microphone to I can give you an answer, but he's the creator. Okay. I'm just a copy.
You should turn the camera for a selfie then.
Yeah. Well, I like the business model canvas and the lean canvas very much myself. But my experience was that in an established organization, the business model canvas brings focus into also the business model and the kind of relationships you want to build with your customer and the partners that you need and stuff like that. And it drives focus a little bit away from the problem and the problem that the customer has. So I wanted to have something to facilitate this early stage in the project, to really facilitate problem thinking and understanding the consumer's world. And then the lean canvas is very interesting to use as a validation mechanism to find out what are assumptions that we make in the product that we're building or the service that we're building. But it is very good for new ideas in organizations that don't have, let's say, a backlog or an existing way of working. But in these organizations, in established organizations, you often find that people say, I don't think this will work because we do a process like this and it will make the product much more costly to build, for example. I can use the case of Kristof here. The process for evaluating products and services, like insurance services, is a very heavy process because you want to go in very much detail. And that would make introduction of this service quite costly. These concerns are important to capture, to take your stakeholder on board, or keep your stakeholder on board, but they shouldn't be blocking the innovation. Because you don't know at the start, is this really what the customer is going to need, this in-depth analysis. Right? So I want to have room on the canvas to capture these concerns without having them block the innovation process. So those are things that I kind of missed in the business model canvas and the lean canvas, for which we then created our own thing.
Okay, anyone has a reply or a reaction on what Philip just said? No? Okay, Other questions or remark or comments? Yes.
It's remarkable because I'm a UX designer and I recognize a lot of the ideas here in the presentation because it's the same approach we use in UX design. We also want to start at the very beginning and define a strategy and replace consumers by users, and you have UX design. So, and this is also a little bit service design, I think. It's also another word for what you're presenting. Is defining what do you want to offer to your users or consumers in case of commercial company. So it's a very similar way of working. And the mock-ups, of course, are not homework in that case, but are real thing. So, yeah, if you want to comment on that.
I didn't mention a lot of UX because in this case UX was overloaded, and as it was in an international company, I had to fly to Portugal, and there was a bit too much out of the budget. But right, I'm really passionate about UX. I don't know much about it, but talking to these people, you can really learn a lot. And that's also what I want to say with the eclectic approach. You talk to people, you kind of steal or like rent solutions. So yeah, I'm really all the extra things and stuff. I took it from UX. So and I really it's so amazing. And the testing, if you make things in extra, then also think you have to cooperate with UX. Like I said, in this test out phase, it can take so much time. So you have to find a good balance. But if you can talk to UX, so I completely agree.
Also, if some people here already had customer journey or customer experience in their business analysis career, they will recognize quite a few of the stuff that has been presented. Is there someone who wants to add something to what just has been said? Yes.
Can I ask you a question on the canvas?
Yes.
Would you mind if I would replace problem by opportunity? Because, yeah, two reasons. You start from the assumption that you have to solve a problem, but I think then you're narrowing down the scope. And also, I think if you have to talk to your customer, you start talking about problems, I think opportunities sounds more positive.
Honestly, honestly, it's you do what you want. Like for me, this works. If you want to replace it by opportunity, fine by me.
Or problem/opportunity.
Whatever. Like, no, it's. I think what I want to say is like, just try to find your approach. This is my approach, and it's in constant evolution. When someone can share something, a new tool or a new approach, then I would probably copy it as well. So, but my goal is to dive into towards the consumer and search for their needs. So, I think that's very crucial. And this is for me also the future of being a BA, because if we write requirements, I see in my projects also like you have a BA, an FA, and then the IT guys that have to talk to business as well, so it's kind of a big mix. But we have all the skills to dive towards consumer needs. So that to answer your question, I don't mind.
No one else responds to this conversation? No? I would like to read one.
Okay.
In the beginning, you gave the definition of the business analysis from the BABOK 2. The BABOK 3 has enlarged a little bit, but No. It's almost the same, but they elaborated it in a few phrases. And you said pity about the stakeholder. But in fact, isn't the customer one of the major stakeholders? I consider, and everyone thinks in stakeholders about project stakeholders. Most of the people here have experience working in projects. And project stakeholders are, in fact, the stakeholders that will enable the project, who will deliver the project. But in fact, what the IIBA wants to give, IIBA is not about project management. It's about business. It's about the business stakeholders. Who participates in the business? Of course, the customer. Without a customer, a company doesn't have any business. The users who are interacting with the operators, or whatever, the people interacting, those are business stakeholders. In fact, in the definition of the IIBA, it goes about the business stakeholders and not about project stakeholders. And I know in my experience in many organizations, people confuse them. They mix them together. Because the major stakeholder in a project is a sponsor. But he, most of the time, doesn't participate to the business. Yeah. Okay, that was my perspective. Anyone comment to that? Chris?
No, I agree. So my interpretation was then wrong. But like you say, projects, talk about stakeholders, it's about the projects. So I agree. No questions about the projects.
I have a very small comment on that customer as a stakeholder, which is a tweet that I read recently. Where is the customer on your organizational chart?
Anyone wants to reply to this? I can reply it, but anyone else?
Should be in the middle.
Yes. It doesn't mean, nowhere it says that a stakeholder has to be in the organizational chart. That's not a written law. In fact, if you forget about the customer, and in fact, I'm working now in an organization, and they call their customers partners. Customer doesn't exist as a word. It's like, okay. But anyway, it doesn't mean. Yeah. But if you were talking about a customer journey, oh no, it's a partner journey. But it's true. It doesn't mean all the stakeholders. Because, for example, if you take the Volere, the Volere, you got the context model, and you got the adjacent systems. For anyone who wants more information, we can go talk it afterwards. But the adjacent systems are also stakeholders to your business. For example, the Rijksregister, for these people that know it. For example, in banking environments, if you want to get a new account, you need to come with your ID card, and then it will exchange information. So Rijksregister is also a participant, and is a stakeholder, although he's also not in your organizational chart. So if you limit your stakeholders to only the people that are in organizations chart, this will not work. Anyone else? Okay. Other questions, other topics on the presentation? On the IIBA? Then I think we'll have to go for a drink. And I first would like to thank Kristof for his interesting presentation. Well, first of all, give a big applause to Kristof because he has been here being ill. He got the flu last weekend and he made it. So we are very happy. He has done that, and now I'm going to wash my hands, of course. But thank you very much. And if you feel a bit sick, a good glass of red wine. Okay, let's go for the drink. If you have any other questions, we'll be there afterwards. Okay, thank you very much.